Starting with the goalkeeper, yes, Courtois, of course, is always going to be him. And really, there isn't much to say about him when it comes to these videos. As I keep saying, if only he could improve in his distribution with the ball. Otherwise, the guy's a world-class goalkeeper, and I think he doesn't get enough credit at times. You know, his ball handling especially, his one-on-one saving ability is up there with the very best. And yeah, I think if he could finesse that area with his distribution, he'd be a much better player. Moving on to the back three, starting with the right-hand side. And of course, Azpilicueta will be playing on that right-hand side. As I keep saying, Azpilicueta is Conte's favourite player. And with Azpilicueta, his form has definitely been picking up recently. And again, it's no surprise because in our recent games, we are playing with more control. We're keeping possession better. We're getting the first goal and we're actually changing the dynamics of games towards our favour. And we're not seeing many teams get too many counter-attacking opportunities anymore since we switched to a three-man midfield. I think for Azpi too, when Moses is fit for the upcoming game against Liverpool, that right-hand side is going to get back to its solid best as it was last season. Moving on to the middle of the back three, and Christensen will regain his place in the team. And with Christensen, again, this guy has always been a top-class player in my opinion. I was raving about him before the season started, and the abilities that he possesses are very top class. The guy doesn't give away any fouls, and that's the number one thing I look at when I'm looking at a young defender, because a lot of times you're more rash with your decision making, your positioning isn't always there, your distribution can be a bit iffy when you're under pressure, and Christensen is top class when it comes to each one of those things that you do need to become a top class defender. Christensen has the composure, he always plays the right pass out from the back, he knows how to start attacks, his positioning is very intelligent. What I love to see is how he's constantly thinking anytime he's playing. For example, you might see him just shift a few yards to the left hand side. Why does he do that? Because that blocks the path for the attacking player to make a run in behind him, or that could potentially put the attacking player on his weakest foot. And that's what Christensen does all the time. He's very understated. I really feel that a video needs to be dedicated to him, just really explaining why he's such a great defender. But unfortunately with YouTube, if you use any type of footage, you're at risk of getting your video content strike. Moving on to the left hand side, and I do see Rudiger playing against Qarabag. I feel that Conte will save Cahill for the game against Liverpool this Saturday, and I think that Conte has been using Rudiger a lot on the left hand side, and I think that with Rudiger's passing ability, we're going to see one of the most composed back threes that we've seen for a while. With Rudiger, he's got his trademark dipping cross that he likes to put in a lot. I do feel that the guy can be a bit too rash. He gives away way too many fouls unnecessarily, which I really don't like when defenders give away fouls, especially when it comes to us defending set pieces. We're not the greatest and you're just giving opposition teams free chances to affect us on goal. But again, he's got great distribution, he's got good recovery pace, but I do feel that at times his positioning can be a bit iffy. He does venture forward a bit too much when he doesn't have to, and I feel that his rashness in the tackle, giving away too many fouls, it just needs to stop. Moving on to the midfield three, and I do see Kante playing. Of course, Kante is the key to why we can even use the system in the first place, and it makes a lot of sense. Throughout the summer, I kept stressing, why don't we use Kante in a deeper role? Why? Because the guy is the best one-on-one tackler in the world, in my opinion. His positioning is great, he reads the game perfectly, and there's that joke that Kante is like two players in run. Well, with Kante playing deeper, you know, he's good enough to have the whole responsibility of just sweeping up any counter-attacks by himself, and that gives license for Fabregas and his other midfield partner to actually affect the game and push forward. And it makes a lot of sense. It's taking Conte way too long to realise this, but for the benefit of the team, it makes sense for Kante to play deepest in the midfield three. Moving on to the right hand side of the midfield, and Fabregas will play there, and a lot of people were criticising Fabregas, but I kept stressing that we weren't using him in his most effective way. With Fabregas, he was playing more as a box-to-box player, and do you really want Fabregas playing like that? No. Fabregas is the conductor of the team. He makes sense of all of our attacking play. He finds the options, and with the movement of Hazard and Morata, it's really key that Fabregas is playing because he finds their runs, because both of them like to make quick darting runs and they create space for other players to move into. And with Fabregas playing there, really he makes sense and complements our attack. I do see Conte subbing him off quite early, probably around the 60th minute, to play Drinkwater, because I think that Conte will save Fabregas for the game against Liverpool, which is going to be a massive game this coming weekend. Moving on to the left hand side of the midfield three, and Bakayoko will play there. And with Bakayoko, as I've been saying, it probably makes sense for him to play in that role at this moment in time. When playing beside Fabregas, in my opinion, I don't think that Bakayoko was doing enough. I know Fabregas was getting a lot of criticism. Oh, you know, he's leaving the midfield exposed, he's giving more work for Bakayoko. No, that's Bakayoko's role, to cover those spaces left and behind. And to be honest, Fabregas doesn't do that. Now, the thing with Fabregas is that he doesn't always win his one-on-one tackles. That's the only thing. But when it comes to positioning, he's always in the right position. So people need to stop saying that myth, because they're actually wrong. But with Bakayoko, again, as Conte was saying before we signed him, he was hoping that he'd be an understudy to Matic, because he wanted him to learn from Matic in the role that Conte wanted him to play in. And honestly, in my opinion, that would be quite negative, and it's like you can't really develop and grow as a player playing in such a negative role in the team, especially when you're only 22 years old. So it's probably best for him that he's playing as part of the midfield three, because again, the defensive responsibility isn't necessarily with him anymore, so he does have license to express himself. Moving on to the wing back, Zappacosta will play on the right hand side, and Zappacosta needs to play these games. You know, with Zappacosta, even though he has his defensive limitations, what he provides to the attack is very good and complements the team a lot. He creates a lot of space, he hugs the touchline, he's very wide, and he's very dynamic. I have felt recently his final ball distribution in the final third hasn't really been up there as much, and that has been quite disappointing. But again, it's been the same thing for Marcos Alonso on the left hand side, and starting with Marcos Alonso as well, again, we will be getting a left wing back player coming this January, so I think with Alonso he definitely needs that competition. Still, he does have some good uses for the team, he does get forward, technically he's adept in keeping the ball in the final third, but again, I still think with Marcos Alonso, he has no recovery pace and he can't tackle, and that's a real issue that we have on that left hand side. And I know I keep stressing about this left hand side, but in my personal opinion, if we could actually strengthen that side and cover up our weaknesses, then tactically teams will find it very difficult to break us down, because how would he actually beat us? How could he actually play against us? Because there's no weakness in the team anymore. Now, moving with that deadly duo up front. Now, I've been praising these guys a lot. It's good that they're finally starting to get credit now. I've been going on about how underrated they've been as a front two. Eden Hazard and Morata. As I keep stressing, Hazard finally has the striking partner beside him that he can play 1-2s with, he can lay off the ball with, he can move into space, and he knows that Morata will find him. Already, Morata's got 4 assists, most of them have gone to Eden Hazard. They work very well together, and in a way, this is Conte's dream front two that he's always wanted. Eden Hazard playing central in those positions is the best for him, because he can affect the game directly. The guy is very clinical, as I keep saying, and him playing closer to goal means he's going to score more goals, as we're already saying. And we saw him turn Super Saiyan against West Brom, where he did get angry, and that anger did help us get the first goal in the game. And I just think the dribbling ability they both possess, they can shoot, they can score, they can run off each other, they can move into space, they're very intelligent. That technical ability as well. And Morata, that's another thing I really like about him now. People comparing him to Torres, no. I know they're both Spanish, but please people, Torres was more like a Jamie Vardy. Morata isn't that type of player. He's much more complete. He can hold up the ball, he can link up the play, he can drop deeper, he can play people in. He's a completely different player to Fernando Torres. Like I said, Torres is more of a Vardy-esque player. But anyway, you guys, that's the team I see us playing against Qarabag on Wednesday, and I do see us getting the win. Now, with Qarabag, I will be bringing the match preview tomorrow, so definitely stay tuned for that. I'm going to get into the tactics. I want to talk to you about how Qarabag will be a different team we're going to face playing them at home. I do see us getting the early goal against Qarabag, and I do see Conte making a lot of tactical substitutions in the second half. Expect us to play a 3-4-3 later on, because Conte will be saving the likes of your Hazards and Fabregases for the game against Liverpool this weekend. But anyway, you guys, I'm Nini FC, this is Blue Lines TV. Please like, comment and subscribe. And if you haven't pressed the bell notification button, please press that to stay notified to all things Blue Lines TV. I'm the NEFC. This is Blue Lines TV. Signing out.